Good morning, and welcome to the 2024 Annual Meeting with the Bar. I am Vinia Allen, Clerk of Court for the United States Bankruptcy Court for the Northern District of Georgia. We are pleased to have the ability to host all of you in this virtual format. We intend for this meeting to be interactive. To that end, if you have questions as the meeting progresses, please feel free to use the Q&A feature. We have members of the clerk's office who are ready, willing, and able to answer your questions. Of course, if you prefer, there will be time at the end of the slide presentation to ask additional questions, either aloud or in the Q&A feature. Let's launch into the statistics for Georgia Northern. For the 12-month period ending September 30, 2024, GANB is the fourth busiest bankruptcy court in the country. Last year, we were number 3 and find our cases just over 1,000 behind Florida Middle bankruptcy. We are still number 1 in the country for Chapter 13 filings, with 9,240 cases for the period ending 9/30/24. 11.1% of all filings in GANB were pro se, which is the 13th highest in the country. Nationally, bankruptcy filings rose 16.2%. For the calendar year 2024 through October the 31st, 2024, GANB overall filings are up over 7%. Last year at this time, we had 14,952 cases, and this year we have 16,099 cases filed through October 31, 24. Chapter 7s are up 11%. Chapter 13s are down 1%, and Chapter 11s are up 324%, due in part to a large complex Chapter 11 case filed in May of 2024. However, notwithstanding that filing, GANB Chapter 11 filings would still be up almost 100%. For the year, we've had 78 Subchapter 5s filed. The fiscal year 2025 budget. The federal government is currently under a continuing resolution. This CR ends at midnight, December the 20th, 2024. If there is not a budget or new CR, there will be a partial government shutdown. We are advised by the Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts that the judiciary has funding to maintain operations for approximately 2 weeks using non-appropriated funds. This means that Georgia Northern will be open for business. Now for news, announcements, and reminders. First, I would like to discuss a personnel update. At the end of this month, our Human Resources Officer, Jennifer Kirksey, will retire. Jenny began her career with the court at Intake. When Jenny worked at Intake and before ECF, attorneys and paralegals would come to the courthouse to the intake counter to file their pleadings. Because of this, many attorneys had the pleasure of meeting and getting to know Jenny. They can attest to her warmth, humor, professionalism, and helpfulness. As our HR officer, Jenny brings those same traits and level of care and concerns to all GANB employees. We will miss Jenny a great deal and wish her all of life's fullness and joy as she retires. As we're on the topic of personnel, I want to take a moment of personal privilege to acknowledge and thank each member of the GANB staff and our judges for their continued commitment to this court and to our mission. On October the 11th, 2024, GANB posted a notice of bankruptcy judgeship position for the Northern District of Georgia at Atlanta. The application deadline is November the 25th, 2024. For additional information, please see the GANB website. We recognize that many parties reach out to our amazing ECF Helpdesk for various questions. As such, our help desk has compiled a few tips and reminders to share with you. If you're using filing agents linked to your ECF account, please remember to unlink the filing agents from your trustee or attorney account when the filing agent leaves your employment. Failing to do so means that a filing agent who leaves your employment can still log into Pacer and file something on your behalf. When submitting updates to your ECF account via Pacer, please make sure that the update is not a change to firm name unless you file the name amendment with the Secretary of State. Otherwise, you will need a new ECF account. Your name, address, and other contact information contained in documents filed with the court should match the information contained in your ECF account. Sometimes this discrepancy is the first notice we receive about new addresses or name changes or employment changes. A good rule of thumb is that if you're updating your Georgia Bar account contact information, it's also helpful to update your ECF account. If you have a pleading and you're unsure about what event you should use to file, if you're in ECF, please use the search button on the blue menu bar to find the event. You may also call the ECF Helpdesk for assistance. Effective October 1, 2024, there was an updated transcript request form that allows for the selection of the delivery of method for audio transcripts, be that CD or MP3. The form is available on the GANB website. Next, and this comes up frequently, are best practices when an attorney leaves a firm, but the firm still represents the party. When this happens, the firm should contact the ECF Helpdesk by phone or email as soon as possible. Next, depending upon the circumstances of the case, the ECF Helpdesk will provide options for filing a certificate of consent to withdraw or notice or motion so the departing employee can be terminated from the case. Finally, the ECF Helpdesk will assist in getting the departed employee's Pacer account unlinked from the ECF account and provide instructions for registering for a new ECF account, if applicable. When the notice of plan completion is filed by the trustee in a Chapter 13 case, please be sure both the 1328 certificate and financial management certificate are filed so the debtor's discharge won't be delayed. The Online Procedures Manual is a resource and reference tool that external users can access to learn more about specific events to use when filing pleadings in CMECF, as well as filing requirements, affiliate forms and rules, and information on how to docket pleadings. Last year at this meeting, I announced the updated OPM would be complete in January of 2024. We did indeed complete the OPM, and I include it here as a reminder to take a look if you haven't, and to use it as often as you have a need. We call these next few slides technology you can use. Our IT department at the court takes great effort and pride to ensure that we can provide access to technological resources for participants. A few resources we offer include evidence presentation options and technology tools. For the evidence presentation options, we have document cameras and laptop connection screen sharing. These options are for in-person court use, and their use is, of course, subject to approval from the court. For those who may be interested in incorporating these options, but need a bit more information on what they are, here's a very brief overview. Document camera. This camera takes a picture of the evidence to be presented and broadcasts the image via projectors or monitors, both of which GANB has and will set up upon request and approval. Laptop connection screen sharing. Think HDMI. This allows the review of information from a laptop. To incorporate any of the options, you must first contact the courtroom deputy at the chamber's email address. After approval, the courtroom deputy will then provide your request to the IT department, who will then contact you. The IT department asks for 5 business days notice for equipment setup. Other technology tools available for use include iPads, projectors, and our VTC, or video teleconference system. Please also remember that attorney Wi-Fi is available in all GANB courtrooms and attorney lounges. For security purposes, The passwords for the Wi-Fi do change periodically. Please see the courtroom deputy for the password. As the city prepares for many large-scale events, be mindful of potential construction delays, some related directly to the events and others related to the construction surrounding the RBR. A few upcoming events that we know of include the College Football National Championship, which is scheduled for January the 20th, 2025. The FIFA Club World Cup, which is scheduled for June 15th through July 13th, 2025. And the FIFA World Cup, scheduled for June 15th to July 15th, 2026. There are two general orders that I would like to bring to your attention. They are amended and restated General Order 47, 2022, which changes the 2-year look-back period of assignment of multiple cases to 3 years, and amended and restated General Order 44, 2021, which establishes procedures for requesting, filing, and the management of highly sensitive documents, or HSDs. As many of you know, each year on December 1, amended rules, new rules, and form changes go into effect. In the last few years, there have been quite a number of rules changes. However, last year and this year, there are significantly fewer. In the following slides, I will identify the rules changes and updates to the official and director's forms. I encourage you to review the upcoming rules changes and note that these documents can be found at uscourts.gov, the link for which is provided on this slide. Bankruptcy Restyle Rules, Parts 1 through 9. The bankruptcy rules have been restyled to make the rules more easily understood and to make the terminology consistent throughout the rules. The bankruptcy rules are the 5th set of national procedural rules to be restyled. Other restyle rules include the rules of appellate procedure, rules of criminal procedure, rules of civil procedure, and the rules of evidence. The changes to these rules are intended to be stylistic only. The following slides provide examples of a few restyled rules. Rule 1007, list, schedule, statements, and other documents, time to file. This rule, like all the rules, has been restyled, but substantively, this rule is amended in 2 ways. First, language was added to make the rule inapplicable to debtors who aren't required to complete the financial management course as a condition to discharge. Second, the rule does away with the requirement for an individual debtor to file the official form certifying completion of the instructional course concerning personal financial management. The rule now requires the debtor to file the actual certificate. Rule 4004, granting or denying a discharge, is amended to reflect the amendment to Rule 1007B7 as previously discussed. Rule 5009, closing a Chapter 7, 12, 13, or 15 case, declaring lien satisfied, is amended to reflect the amendment to Rule 1007B7 as previously discussed. Rule 7001, Bankruptcy Rules Emergency, is amended to create an exception for certain turnover proceedings under Section 542A. The committee notes to this amended rule reference Justice Sotomayor's concurrence in the City of Chicago versus Fulton, where she notes that the more formal procedures applicable to adversary proceedings can be too time-consuming in a situation where a debtor may need to obtain the prompt return from a third party of tangible personal property in order to produce income to fund a plan or to regain the use of property that may be exempted. New Rule 8023.1, substitution of parties, is derived from Federal Rule of Appellate Procedure 43 and governs substitution of parties upon death. Neither Appellate Rule 43 nor Civil Rule 25 applied to parties in bankruptcy appeals to the District Court or Bankruptcy Appellate Panel. This new rule is intended to fill that gap by providing consistent rules for the substitution of parties upon death or for any other reason. Rule 9006, Computing and Extending Time, Motions, is amended to reflect the amendment to Rule 1007B7 as previously discussed. Official Form 423 has been abrogated. This was the official form currently required if a debtor seeks to notify the court of compliance with completion of a personal financial management course. Official Form 410 is amended to allow the use of the Uniform Claim Identifier for all payments and all cases filed under all chapters of the code, not just electronic payments in Chapter 13 cases. Directors Forms 1040, Adversary Proceeding Cover Sheet, and 2630, Bill of Costs, were changed to conform to the restyled rules. Finally, we have a few general announcements. For weather delays and closings, please check WSB and the GANB website for official information. A recording of this meeting and the PowerPoint will be posted on the GANB website. And so I just want to say thank you for attending, and I hope that you and yours have a happy Thanksgiving.